Good morning, class. This is your English teacher, Sir Sanjay. Welcome to yet another online classes. In the last class, we discussed lesson number 1. So today, without wasting any further time, let us begin second lesson. All right. The name of the lesson is The Little Red Hen. What is the name of the lesson? The Little Red Hen. So let's begin explaining. To start with, is this warm-up puzzle. Can you see this puzzle? This one, ponder. Now it has this picture wherein a small chick looks to be struggling to find her mother, right? So let us help this chick find her mother. Okay, I'll show you, I'll trace the path for you. You have to try and complete it. All right, so see, this is where the chick is supposed to start his journey to reach his mother. Okay, he'll follow this trail and then he'll go this way, this way, this way, this way. And where would he go from now? Which way do you think is possible? How about this one? If I follow this way, I'll get blocked here, right? So this is wrong. Now what do? I'll follow the same path and then I'll walk along this way. Look at the black dots, and then how about going from this track instead, right? So try and complete this at home in your own books. This is easy, isn't it? So this is how this lovely yellow chick will find its mother. Okay, it was a nice little warm up for you. Let's move on to next page. What do we have? Let's see. Just give me a moment. Let me set it up for you. I'll be using digital tools like I always do to make the explanation of the lesson interesting and easy. Okay, so here we go. I'll start reading. Repeat after me. We will be reading and I'll explain once our reading is over. Okay, so what does it say? Let me zoom it up for you to make things little clearer. Sorry for that. Just give me a moment. Yeah. Mm, yeah. So once upon a time, there lived a little red hen and a small chicks. Right. Once upon a time, there lived a little red hen and her small chicks. Okay. This is the little red hen wearing this yellow muffler sort of thing. Right. And then she had few chicks. How many chicks? Can you count? One, two, three, four, five of them. Right. So once upon a time there lived a little red hen and her small chicks. They lived in a tiny cottage. Okay, they lived in a tiny cottage. Where did they live? They live in a tiny cottage. What is the meaning of the word tiny? What is the meaning of the word tiny? Tiny means small, right? So this mother and her chicks, they lived in a small cottage. Okay, the chicks look like soft golden balls. You know, golden, yellowish metal, very precious, valuable. All right. So these chicks were so cute and beautiful. They look like yellow golden balls. Okay. Moving on to next para. The little red hen worked very hard to feed her little chicks. So this red hen was very hard working. You know, she used to work really hard day and night in order to feed her little chicks. What is the meaning of feed? To provide them food. Okay. She liked to sing and dance as she walked. So she was quite joyful in nature. She loved to dance and sing while she walked. Okay. So what happens here? Let's move on. We are here now, okay, for you to understand. So one day the little red hen was out walking with her friends, the lamb, the goose, and the cat. So what happened one day? What happened one day was, so one day the little red hen was out walking with her friends. Okay, like we all go for walking, right? Morning, evening, in order to keep ourselves fit and healthy. Similarly, this little red hen was out for walk with her friends. Who were the friends? The lamb. You know lamb, right? She was out for a walk with the lamb, the goose. Okay. And the cat. You all know cat, right? I think some of you might be having cat as your pets at home as well, right? So while they were walking and talking, she found a few grains of wheat. Okay, grains of wheat. She found a few grains of wheat. We all know wheat, right? We make it into fine flour and have chapatis, roti, right? Isn't it? How many of you eat roti? I guess most of us, right? So getting back to lesson. While they were walking and talking, she found a few grains of wheat. Who will help me plant this grains? She asked. So what did she ask? Who will help me plant this grains? Okay. Not I, said the lamb. So the lamb was not quite affirmative. He said, not I, I'm not going to help you. Not I, said the goose. The goose's response was same. Okay. Not I, said the cat. So none of them were ready to plant the grains. Okay. The cat, the lamb, and the goose both replied with an oh no. Clear? Who found grain? The hen. When did they find it? They found it on their way to work. Right? And what was the proposal made by this hen? She wanted to plant the grains, right? Did anyone agree? No, none of the friends agreed to plant the grain, right? Moving on, just give me a moment, let me clear this up for you. Yeah, sorry for that. We are here. The little red hen looked at the grains of wheat. She took a look at the grains of wheat. Then she looked at her friends. Okay, she was not quite pleased with the way her friends answered. So she took a look at the wheats once and then she looked at her friends. Okay, very well, I shall plant this myself, she said. And she did just that. Okay, so since no one was ready to help her, what she did was she decided to plant the seeds of the wheat. How? How did she plan to plant the seeds of the wheat? She decided to do it on her own, right? Without taking help from anyone. She decided to do it on her own, like I've said, right? So let's continue reading. We are here now. Very well, I shall plan this myself, she said, and she did just that. So I've repeated this line. Early, early one morning, we are following, clear? Early one morning, the little red hen went out to see where she had planted the wheat. Okay, so early one morning, the little red hen went out. See, what did she do? She went out to see where she had planted the wheat, right? She saw tiny green sprouts. You know sprouts? What is the meaning of sprout? I'll show you the meaning of sprout. Just give me a second. See, they have illustrated it with the help of, picture. sprouts here. Okay, whenever you plant something, the fresh, tiny, tender green outgrowth that slowly grows into sapling is sprout. Clear? So early one morning, the little red hen went out to see where she had planted the wheat. She saw green sprouts coming out of the ground. Okay, she must be absolutely elated to find green tiny sprouts coming out of the ground. Okay, she was very happy, like I've said. The wheat she had planted was growing. Okay, it was growing. Hurry, come and look at the wheat, she cried to her chicks. So she cried to her chicks, come, look at the weeds. They have started growing. Okay, the wheat grew and grew all summer. So the weeds continue to grow like any plant usually grows. Okay, the wheat grew and grew all summer. It slowly changed from green to golden yellow. Clear? There was a color change from green. It changed to what? It changed to golden. Golden what? Golden yellow, right? Green to golden yellow, what does it mean? Change from green to golden yellow means that wheat was growing and it was, ready for harvesting. Harvesting means cutting of the wheat and then processing finally. Okay, so the wheat she had planted was growing and she cried, hurry, come and see, look at the wheat. Okay, the wheat grew and grew all summer. It slowly changed from green to what color? Golden yellow, right? Who will help me pick the wheat? Asked the little red hen. So the little red hen asked once again, who will help me pick the wheat? Okay. Now what will be the answer from our friends? Let's see. The friends did not even plant. Okay. Not I, said the lamb. Not I, said the goose. Not I, said the cat. So, like they did in the beginning, even now the lamb, goose, and the lamb, goose, and the cat, all three of them refused to pick the wheat. Right? In the beginning, they refused to plant the wheat, and now they have totally refused to pick the wheat. Isn't it? So now, what will happen next? Let's read and understand. Here we are. The little red hen looked at the grains of wheat. See, we are here. The little red hen looked at the grains of the wheat. Then she looked at her friend. Okay, so she looked at the grains of the wheat and then she looked at her friend. Very similar to what she did in the morning, in the beginning, while she was trying to plant the wheat. Okay, and then came the affirmative reply. She replied. What did she reply? She said, very well. I shall pick the wheat myself, she said, and she did just that. Okay. So she said, if you all are not willing to pick the wheat, I will do it myself. Very well, I'm ready to do it myself. Nobody needs to do it. Okay. So she did again the same thing, without taking help from anyone. She went on to do her work on her own. Okay. Let's continue reading. We are here. She picked all the wheat and put in a sack. Okay, you know sack, right? Something like this. Let's say you can put in a lot of things inside. Okay, so what she did was she picked all the wheat and put in a sack. Now it was ready to go to the flour mill to be made into fine flour. Okay, flour mill is a place wherein grains and all are processed into flour. Okay, so she picked all the wheat and put it in a sack. Now it was ready to go to the flour mill to be made into fine flour. After making fine flour, she could use it to make chapatis and whatsoever she likes. Okay, so the little red hen was very hardworking. From the way she carried out her activities, we can clearly state, right? First, what did she do? What did she do first? What did she do first? She of course planted the seeds on her own, right? Secondly, she cut them, she picked the wheat, sorry, and put them in a sack, and now she was all set to go to the flour mill to make them into fine flour. But then, like she always did, but then, like she always did, early next morning, the little wren, sorry, but then, like she always did, she will be asking them. Okay, so let's read. Early next morning, the little red hen said, okay, let's start. So let's start. The little red hen looked at the grains of wheat. Okay, we are here. The little red hen, like she always did, looked at the grain of the wheat. Then she looked at her friends. Very well, I shall pick the wheat myself, she said, and she did just that. Okay, she picked all the wheat and put it in a sack. Right? I've already explained it, just summarizing it. Put it in a sack. So we are here. Now it was ready to go to the flour mill. Flour mill to be made into fine flour. Okay. So early next morning, the little red hen said, "Who will help me take the wheat to the mill and ground it into the flour?" "Not I," said the lamb. "Not I," said the goose. "Not I," said the cat. The little red hen The little red hen looked at the sack of grain. Then she looked at the lamb, the goose, and the cat, like she always did. Okay, whenever she'll ask for help to these three friends of her, they'll refuse, and then she'll look at them and the thing she was supposed to do. Okay, then I will take the wheat. Then I will take the wheat myself, she said, and she did. The next day, the little red hen had a beautiful loaf of bread. She had a beautiful loaf of bread. She asked the lamb, the goose, and the cat, "Who will help me eat this beautiful loaf of bread?" Now the final moment had come. Okay. Uh, she grinded the wheat into fine flour, and then what did she do? She made a beautiful loaf of bread. Right? Loaf, you know, right? You all eat bread. So she made beautiful loaf of bread, and then she asked the lamb, the goose, and the cat, "Who will help me eat this beautiful loaf of bread?" Now what will be the response? Let's see. What will be the response? Let's see. It's here. "I will," said the lamb. "I will," said the goose. "I will," said the cat. So they all readily agreed to, eat the loaf in the first hand, but in the beginning what they did is they never agreed to help the hen whenever she needed their help, right? So what do you think? Should she allow them to eat the loaf of the bread? Yes? No? I don't think so, right? Because they never helped her, isn't it? So what will she say? "No, you won't." She said, "No, you won't," said the little red hen. "None of you helped me. You did not want to work," she said. So she refused them. She did not allow them, in fact, to have any bread at all. Okay, because they never helped they never helped they never helped her in any way whenever she wanted or needed their help. So what does she finally say? She says, I am going to is I am going to eat the bread with my chicks. Okay, see the little red. We'll move on and I'll explain you further. I mean, in the next class, what I'll do is I'll summarize this lesson once again and then we will discuss the exercises. Okay. So, thank you everyone for being part of this class. It was wonderful to be with you all through this digital platform. Thank you. Keep learning, keep growing. Okay. Goodbye.